But we want to talk a little bit now about the real estate market because it's huge. You know, you come from income property. We know real estate has been big for a long time. The trend isn't going anywhere. So we actually opened it up to our viewers and got some questions for you guys. And I love this one from Adriana. So where in the GTA is the best area for an executive rental? What should I avoid as a first-time executive rental investor? And what is the most yielding unit size and sought-after amenities? You don't have to answer all of the above, but what do you think?
She wants to buy a property to lease out.
She does. Yes, because
rental.
there are so many people that are coming into town and they're looking for places to stay while they're here for business. And so she wants to get in on that action and find an area that might be good for that.
For an executive. Well, it would have to be an established neighborhood, a prestige neighborhood.
Close to downtown, don't you think?
Typically close to an urban center or in like Yorkville or, you know, where people can walk. Basically, you're looking at a hotel alternative when you're doing an executive rental.
Yes.
Over the last 6 or 7 years, it's become a massive trend amongst investors because of all the online tools. It's now, you can basically run your own hotel online through things like Airbnb and other for rent by owner websites, and you have access to the global market. It's actually been a real problem for hotels, is they're now competing with small-time investors who are doing high-end executive rentals at a severe discount.
Yes.
The reason why I have liked executive rentals is because you don't typically fall under the Landlord and Tenancies Act with this type of...
Why, they're short-term?
Because it's short-term. It's only 2 weeks. You don't. It's not like you're signing these huge lease agreements or collecting checks and chasing tenants. You typically collect everything beforehand, so they don't even get to use the apartment or the property until they've paid everything in full in advance. Now, and if, of course, you're charging a premium, the executive rentals will command approximately triple the going rate of if it was rented for a long term. Absolutely.
But you have to have a cushion, because you have to remember, if, as opposed to renting it for 2 years or 4 years, if it's going to be empty for a few weeks here, a month here, a few weeks there, you've got to be able to have enough money to keep that going on.
You're going to have turnover constantly.
Higher vacancy and a high turnover rate. The cost of turnover is the cleaning, right, going in, any repair, things like that. Somebody needs to be there to hand keys over and to wash everything. It's like a hotel, basically.
Right.
So it comes with pros and cons.
Yeah.
I know a few moms in my neighborhood that are doing it because they're stay-at-home moms and they actually have the ability to have some time to do the key changeover and do the cleaning in between tenants. So it's definitely something to consider now. Okay, here's another one. And I know we said Toronto, but this is for any big city in Canada. Think about it for any big city. Do you think it's wise to invest in a tiny one-bedroom apartment? We are paying really cheap rent, so $1,000 for a 2-bedroom. That would be cheap in the Toronto area. We can afford to purchase a tiny condo. Would this be a good investment? To rent it out and basically have someone pay off the mortgage while we slowly build up a down payment? What do you think?
You know, I always think it's a good idea to own real estate. I mean, you cannot go wrong with real estate. We're not talking about flipping. If you're talking about flipping, there are fluctuations in the market and you can get caught. If you're talking about buying something for the long term, you can't lose. But I know someone that, as opposed to waiting for the down payment and buying a small condo, my niece, for instance, bought a duplex.
Okay.
So they have a tenant, and is what you do all the time.
Yeah.
That's smart.
And that's how they can afford the house. And then one day, when that tenant helps to contribute to pay off the mortgage, they will take over the whole house.
Absolutely.
I like that idea.
And the way the rules are set up today, and I always say, you know, the rules may change in the future. You got to take advantage of what exists now. And at the moment, there's no tax on a primary residence. Like, there's no capital gains tax. So if they buy this condo and they live there, and even though it's, you know, paying as much as they were in rent, perhaps, if it goes up $100,000 in value over the next 5 years, and they sell, that's $100,000 tax-free in their pockets. You'd have to make $200 grand to take home $100 grand, but the way primary residences are viewed today in Canada is tax-free gains on that. So there are a lot of advantages to being a homeowner.
And even if you're not making a huge gain in the time, at least your money is going to equity.
Yes.
You know, you're not just paying, you know, a landlord's paying their mortgage off. Pay your own mortgage off.
Absolutely. He's a landlord. It's like, never mind, or just be a tenant.